There's a very beautiful doha in the Ramcharitmanas. Tulsidas ji says, Jaki rahi bhavna jaisi, prabhu murat tin dekhi vaisi. Jaki rahi bhavna jaisi, prabhu murat tin dekhi vaisi. As you feel, so will you see the Lord. How do you feel from within and how do you want to hold the universe is how the universe will express to you in that form. Right? So always remember, never think it is about just the person in front of you. It is how are you coming to this space that you will take back. I always keep saying this, that the satsangs that take come are very dynamic. They are not something, and those who have been part of this journey. So you will see that that 2 hours session which was presented and which was posted for a group, their capacity perhaps was to take that much. So it was poured accordingly. Now what they do with it, did they take it, did they drink it, did they keep it aside saying we've got great nectar and let me just hold it in my cup and keep watching, wow, I've got the nectar, or did they actually savor it bit by bit, digest it, assimilate it, integrate it and express it, is a function of your karma, your bhakti, your jnana, your dhyana, the 4 integral paths of yoga. Yeah, the karma yoga, the bhakti yoga, the dhyana yoga, the jnana yoga. So how well you will receive all of these and work with it in the form of manthan is a function of how you will finally express it. Right? Otherwise, just it is what I always call is there are 4 paths to what we today call everything as knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. There are 4 typical words we come across. 1, data. So there's a lot of data around in the world. Data, data, data everywhere. You open the internet, you open your WhatsApp, you open any social media, you're just flooded with data. Right? And the world believes data is the next way to go, because the more you have data, the more you can customize, the more you can micromanage people's lives, right? So everything that is what you're operating on the digital platform is constantly taking your data. The second is when data gets segregated into information. Yeah. So I have data, my employees are doing this, my students are doing this, my child is like, this is all data. I segregate it into parts that make something which is relevant to that particular task that I need to do. That is information. So I want to learn Bhagavad Gita. I have information on the internet about so many books, so many authors, so many speakers, and so many videos, and so many things, right? So that's information. The third, distilled from that information, you need to be able to remove the knowledge that is relevant to you. Yeah, because otherwise you're in a market of information and data. So you need to be able to segregate, distill it further. I wouldn't even call segregate. That art of filtering it further to understand who is knowledgeable and who is just chat-GPTizing content, right? In today's terms, if I may put it, because almost everybody seems knowledgeable today on the internet, right? So where is that knowledge really coming from? What is the source of this knowledge? Yeah, it's a very important thing. How do you know all these? You will understand it as you go along when you study and start working on yourself. And most important, finally, if there has to be a transformation in you, if there has to be a shift in you, if there has to be a real inquiry which is initiated in you, an Atma Vichar which is initiated in you, then that happens only when it comes from the wise beings. So, data, information, knowledge, wisdom. Yeah. So you have a lot of young, for example, if I have to give an example, you have a lot of youngsters talking about yoga today. You have a lot of people demonstrating yoga as well today. You have a lot of theorizing also that is happening on yoga today, right? But perhaps the wise person who has lived yoga will nowhere be close to having the perfect figure and the perfect look that you think about that yoga is all about. Because he is the wise being who is truly understood yoga and now living yoga, not just externally, but internally, and understood the real purpose of all of asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. The Ashtanga yoga that we talk about. Yeah. Finally, all your asanas. What do you mean by asana? Yeah, the very simple word asana means to be able to stay in one place, in one position for an extended period of time. It has got nothing to do with the number of postures that you keep working with. The number of postures that you keep working with for various muscles and for various joints and all of these are very secondary to the real understanding of yoga. I'm not saying they're not important. I'm not saying they have to be ignored. You may do it, but the real purpose, if you call it yoga, you can call that other one exercise. But the real yoga is when you are able to sit in one place with your physical body without any disturbance. That is yoga. That is asana, just the asana part of yoga, right? Then comes pranayama. It is not just enough if you're able to sit, but is your breath coordinated or completely restless? Prana ayama. Prana means energy, the energy that runs my body. Ayama of it, the in and the outgoing breath. Now here, breath is not prana. Breath is the vehicle which carries the prana. But the prana ayama means simply, is there ease in the movement of my breath? Because your breathing can only become easy if you are comfortable in your body. Right? If there's a lot of restlessness, if you're running, will your breath be normal? Will it be? No, it will not be stable. Remember, we spoke about TFA, thinking, feeling, action. So the breath represents that feeling part which is stable in the body to receive what? The ability to think, the ability to inquire. So all your yama, niyamas are so that you can get to asana. Your asana is to facilitate pranayama. Your pranayama is to facilitate pratyahara. Pratyahara means when my breath is simply where I am, and it's not riding in 1,000 directions. What's happening there? What's he talking? What's she wearing? Who's the next one? What is he saying? How come he's so my thoughts are completely going in 1,000,000 directions. If all those thoughts can be brought into one place, into what I am seeking, right? If all my senses which are moving outward can be simply withdrawn to a space within and centered, that is pratyahara. Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to cut off from the world and you could be in the world like the lotus, yet completely untouched. Yeah, you could be in the crowd, yet completely with yourself alone. That is pratyahara. That is the space that we need to touch, for which we are doing yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. And why pratyahara? Because if my senses are continuously deluded externally, then I cannot do dhyana. I need focus. And for focus, all the 5 senses which take me outward need to be brought into one space for dhyana. And then I need the continuity of my attention. Because you may say, I'm very comfortable sitting for 3 hours, Nityama, I can listen to you. You may say, I'm very, very, settled because it's on a Sunday, weekend, everything is sorted. It's just the time when my family is even busy. I've done what I need to do for them. So I have all the time to listen. And therefore, my breath is absolutely stable, right? My senses are with you. Yeah. I'm paying attention. But are you able to offer unprecedented attention without any break? Wow. What do you mean by without any break? I'm sitting here, I'm not moving, my breath isn't. Yeah. But is your mind starting to look at things? But last time it was said this way. This time it is this. But I had read in that book, that is what it means. But in this place, it is saying this. So you see what's happening? You're already moving with judgments into that space. So dharana is receiving without any barriers and being able to assimilate it unprecedentedly. If there's an English word, unprecedentedly. Right? So without any barriers, dhyana, dharana. When I am in that space without any barriers of what? Of knowledge, of memory, of past, of comparisons, of prejudices, of opinions, of expectations, of colored lenses. When I drop all of these identifications, is the space of samadhi. Samadhi. And that is a possibility that each one of us can have if we can work through the week on various parts of ourselves and be regular, be intense in the satsangs. Yeah. So our satsangs are not just about the decoding Bhagavad Gita. That is one part of it, where we work through meditations, where we work through various different parts to understand the Gita in a more practical way, in a more digestible way. Right? But apart from that also, there are various parts. When we do the sadhanas, we have the Hanuman sadhanas, Kando Upasana, Shakti sadhana. What are all these sadhanas for? The sadhanas are to bring your energy, that pratyahara, to happen to one space, one deity, for your dhyana dharana samadhi to happen. So will pratyahara happen just with the sadhana, nityama, japa, kar liya, ho jayega? No. The japa is also not being able to, we are not able to do it continuously because of various other inhibitions that we have. So it goes like that. I'm not going to get into the detailing of it because that any which ways the Bhagavad Gita will bring us to every aspect of it. But what I want to say is that that integral aspect of yoga is very critical to one's life. Yeah? All right. So, Jaki, rahi, bhavna, jaisi, prabhu, murat, dekhi, vaisi. As you feel, that what you harbor within, in your inner space, as a culmination of your karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, is how you will be able to receive. All right, on that note, I will just share a slide that reminds me of kind of listening that we do. So this is something which I had done years ago on the Bhagavad Gita when I had taken a particular chapter through the COVID. We spoke about 4 types of listening. And I'm sure that many of you here do listen. But what kind of listening happens is very important to understand. So the first kind of listening is you listen by reconfirming what is already known through preconceived notions. I just spoke about it, right? I already know, okay, Bhagavad Gita, I've heard it so many times. This explanation by this person said this thing. So I already know all these things, right? You already work with some preconceived data, information, knowledge inside you. The second is object focused listening. I spoke about dhyana. Yeah, you are completely paying attention, but to what differs from what we already know. So what are you actually doing? Comparison. Yeah. But last time was delivered better. This time there's a problem with the voice. Last time we had a video and some, pointers were put in, but this time no pointers were put in. So it's a little difficult for me. So you see where your attention is moving? It's divided, right? The third, and when in an object focused listening, the key thing is you're only listening to what you want to listen, right? I would have said a million things, but you listen to only what resonates or what you wanted to listen, because that is what you wanted a confirmation on or what you are familiar with. Is this coming across? Are you guys able to understand what I'm trying to say? All right. Then comes the third kind of listening, which is empathetic listening. This is more English, I have put it, but it's okay. Here, your perception shifts from your own to the field of what the other person is really seeing. In most of our listening, I want you to not just apply this to this session, but also see how are you listening to people in your day-to-day life. When you are listening, when a friend comes to you and talks to you, you already listen to him with preconceived notions. Oh, this fellow will come and just pap around. He always takes away my time. Or he is going to talk something meaningful. You already have a preconceived notion. Second, you want to listen from him only what you know about or what you know, want to talk and show that I know. Yeah, mujhe malum hai ye. So if you're a yoga teacher, for example, you already think I know XYZ things, then you're already listening and comparing that and trying to tell, no, you should be, this. So you are not really listening. You're already operating from your realm. The third is empathetic listening, where you are now perhaps paying attention to the other person. You're actually putting aside all your biases, your perceptions, your opinions, and you're listening. And finally, is the transformational listening, the listening that transforms you, where you have connected to a source, deeper source of who you truly are. So many of us listen with the ears. Some of us are listening with the eyes and ears. And some of us are calculating in the brain already with what they've heard, what somebody has spoken. And the real listening happens when you keep all of this aside. You're simply available to the energy that is transpiring. Because when you hear from that space, you're not hearing with your physical ear, you're actually hearing with your heart. Huh? Heart. How can we hear with a heart? So in Sanskrit, we use this word antahkarana. Karanas which are internal to you. As much as we may all want to believe that we are hearing with the ear, it's not true. As much as we all believe we are seeing with our eyes, it's not true. So in the transformational listening, you are at a point, sometimes you even go beyond the words. You don't need words. You already know why the person is there and what he needs. And you're listening not to the physical words. So he may be saying, I'm going through this pain, I'm going through this problem, I'm facing this situation. But this being who is listening from the other space, who's capable of that wisdom in him or her, already knows what your being is actually suffering for. So you are talking about some suffering, but what he or she is already seeing is, where is your being, what it really needs. So this is what I said in terms of data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. So a person who's in the space of wisdom, how would he listen and how would he express would naturally bring a transformation in you. You have that space available, you enter that space, you are completely available to the listening, it transforms you. You will go back never thinking the same. But you'll say it doesn't happen, it rarely happens. Yeah, it rarely happens because of certain other challenges in our system. Yeah. So when we go to temples, the peace we feel, when we enter the space of a wise being, how do we feel? And when we come back, we are again distraught. We are again flooded with all the confusions and thoughts. And why is that? Is something you need to look into the inner system that we hold, the antahkaranas. How am I listening? How am I perceiving? When there are a lot of blocks, colored lenses in it, then naturally I hear with a lot of filters. And the filters which I have built based on my own perceptions of the world, of myself, and my existence in this space of me and the world. Yeah, this is exactly the space that Arjuna is also with Krishna. Let's take this example. So it makes it a little easy. Nowhere to begin, nowhere to be, nowhere it is. When you listen to this, when you read this, what does this do to your inner space? Can you just look back into your psyche and see what it feels to listen to these words? What's happening? Nowhere to begin, nowhere to be, nowhere it is. What does this to you? You read the words, know where to begin. All right, I'll place the next slide for you to understand what I meant. Now here to begin. Now here to be. Now here it is. Yeah, just one space and one alphabet. Now here to begin. Now here it is. And now here to be. That's the difference in perception. That's the difference our perception can make. In the first slide, nowhere to begin. Seems like a very hopeless statement. Nowhere to begin. Nowhere. Nowhere it is. It's not there anywhere. Nowhere to be. You can't be anywhere. Just change that. Now here to begin. Now here it is. That's the difference that happens when your perception changes. And when your presence, your awareness becomes available to the moment. So it's now and here. All right?
I thought there would be a third slide with no.
Yes. You know what the word no says?
Well, knowledge, no.
No. N-O, no.
N-O, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What would that mean? When you hear a no, new opportunity. Yeah? So when someone tells you, no, I don't. Oh, I have a new opportunity. A new opportunity to look differently. A new opportunity to think differently. A new opportunity to see what I have not perhaps seen the way it should have been seen before. So if you look at change the very way when you receive a no, it will no more be about negativity. It will be about an opportunity. And does this come overnight? No. So NO, next time anybody says NO, rewire yourself to say new opportunity, next opportunity. All right. What I'm going to just do today is move into certain verses of chapter 1. We don't have the time to chant all of them, but just to bring to your attention some of the verses. Om Atha Prathamodhyayah. We'll go to the 13th verse. Tatha shankhash bheryascha panavan ko mukhaha sahasaivaabhyahanyanta sashabdah tumulo bhavat. So it speaks about the conches, the kettle drums, the tabors, the drums, trumpets, all of these blaring forth in the war on the battlefield. It speaks about how, where are all these being sounding in the battlefield. Now, very typically for those who, especially Indians, we know the stories and we know in the battlefield, there'll be a drum, there'll be a conch. And so we all think, oh, these are those loud sounds that are blown to announce the war. Yeah. But at a very subtle level, each of these, tata shankascha bheryascha, all of these have a relevance to the certain sounds that we hear inside us when we are in utter chaos in life. Yeah, the sound of a judge coming up. Kya kar diya? What did you do? Why are you doing this? This is not, that little voice that keeps nagging inside you when you've done something. Yeah, and it takes different shapes and sizes and demons. That is what this particular verse is talking about. That there are the sounds of the kettle drums and the conches, and there are sounds of the tabors and drums. And there's utter chaos in the mind of the warrior, like we all go through, right? And then comes the very beautiful verse 15, where it says, Panchajanyam Hrishikeshah Devadattan Dhananjayah Paundram Dadmau Mahashankham Bhimakarma Vrikodaraha. So this speaks about Panchajanyam. Whose conch is Panchajanya? Krishna's conch is called Panchajanya. What are the koshas? How many koshas do we have? Pancha koshas. How many Pandavas are there? 5 Pandavas. What do each of the Pandavas represent? Each Pandava represents one of the tattvas, the Pancha tattvas that we are. Yeah. So a story can be listened at 3 levels. 1, I listen to the story. Pandavas, Kauravas, Krishna. All right, I know the story of Mahabharata. Level 1. So, Jaki, rahi, bhavna, jaisi, prabhu, murat, dekhi, vaisi. So, you will listen to it according to where your resonance is. First level student will listen. Oh, yeah, I know Pandavas, Kauravas, the war happened, and Krishna gave this advice, and there was Bhishma, and he was in an ethical dilemma, and all of that. Fantastic. Level 1 student. Level 2 student. So level 1 student is data information student. Level 2 student is all right. Pandava, Kaurava, fine. Ethical dilemmas, yes. But even I have these situations in my life. I'm also positioned at a very sensitive this where I have to choose between my parents sometimes and choose between my wife. Jokes apart. But sometimes the dilemma is between my child, between my profession, in my profession, between what is right for the business and what is more ethical for a larger society. Don't we all face these dilemmas? Yes. Right? So here, the dilemma that Arjuna faces, the second level student says, oh, this is not just about Arjuna and Krishna. I too have these problems. I too go through these things. So the student who was just looking at it as a story now has started relating it to his own life and started seeing how can I learn from these stories, which also are a representation, a mirror of things that happen in my life too. The day a student starts, that is why I always say that a teacher is not about teaching. A teacher is about finding the reflections in the students. A teacher, a true teacher, mirrors the students. And a true guru simply mirrors the disciple. Yeah. So, what does that mean? I'll not touch right now. The third level student says, oh my God, Pancha Pandavas, of which Bhima was Vayu, Yudhishthira was Yama, Arjuna was born from Indra, and our Indriyas are also called Indriyas. Is there a correlation between Indra and Indriyas? I don't know. Is there a correlation between Bhima being the Vayuputra? The inquiry begins in the third level student. He starts seeing beyond the obvious. That is what I spoke about, 4 types of listening. The 4th level of listening, where now the story is not about characters anymore, but Krishna is directly telling you the essence behind each of these stories and characters. And a journey of a sadhaka is to move these, transcend, to ascend these layers. The teacher is teaching me an asana. Move your hand here, leg here, this way, hold your breath. All right, I'm just looking at the teacher, I'm looking at everybody else, and I'm just trying to do something. Second level, he starts looking at what this asana is doing inside him or her. Third level, the student has got in touch with his body. He has transcended the outer teacher to now being led by the inner teacher, which is his own body. This is the journey of a student. This is the journey of every human being. This is the journey that the Gita can create if you are in the 4th level of listening and if you have your cameras on. All right. So the in charge of the chariot of Arjuna, which is Krishna, does his job too well. And Arjuna says, Krishna, can you please take me right there in front of the war field so that I can see who all are there. As a leader, I need to assess who are the people in my team, what are their capabilities, where are they positioned, are they rightly stationed in the right, authority to take charge, are they well placed? And I must study the other side of the army, because that is how I will build my strategy. If I do not know my weaknesses, I do not know how to build my strengths. If I do not know my strengths, I do not know how to overcome my weaknesses. Exactly the battlefield. Right? So, Krishna, very beautifully, as the most efficient charioteer, the driver of Indra's son. Indra represents the mind, and Krishna, the one who is guiding the mind, takes Arjuna right there in front, where his grandsire and his beloved teacher, whom he can lay his life for, is positioned. What a fantastic guy, right? What a fantastic driver. He takes you in the most precarious situation when the war is ready to begin. He should be a motivator, right? And he should have taken Arjuna in front of all those people which Arjuna could have just slayed like this. Or perhaps not just slayed, in front of those people who Arjuna would have got irked up with. You did this to me, you did this to my wife, you did this to Draupadi, you did this to... So anything that could have just made him more, what? Irritated, more angry, है ना? ऐसे जगह ले जाना चाहिए था. But Krishna ने क्या किया? Krishna took Arjuna's chariot exactly at his weakest point in front of his teacher and his grandsire. Doesn't life do that to us? Exactly positions you at your weakest point and tells you, now take the decision. If life has not done that to you, my dear friend, my dear fellow seekers, my dear sadhakas, then life has not given you the opportunity to grow. And I don't think life is unfair to anybody. Yeah? So we all have had those moments. And exactly that is what Arjuna faces with Krishna. Yeah. When Krishna sees this, he's still quiet. He's not budging. What a leader. He's not worked up at the fact that his warrior friend is losing ground. Yeah. And what are the statements that therefore Arjuna makes? It's not that Krishna can't see Arjuna going through those emotions, going through those ups and downs of fear, misery, all of those lower emotions we've seen in the chart. If you have a copy of that, just go through it on your screen. You'll see that, right? So here he says in utter sorrow. Yeah, Arjuna says in utter sorrow, and we go to the 28th verse. Drishtve mam svajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupasthitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishushyati. He says, oh my God, Krishna, looking at all of these in the battlefield, my limbs are giving way. मेरे हाथ से मेरा गांडीव छूट रहा है, मेरे हाथ थरथरा रहे हैं. My hands are shaking, my limbs are shaky, my mouth is getting parched. Yeah, there is a shiver that is running in my body. My hair is standing on its end. I'm getting goosebumps. I do not know what to do. How many of us have faced these situations in our life? Yeah, none of us. We've all been born very confident and gone and killed that. No, the first session you took, the first talk you gave, the first time you went for an interview, the first time you lied, all of this, right? Right. So it happens even to Arjuna, the greatest warrior who has been seasoned by none other than Drona himself. Yeah? Drona Acharya. Then he says, Gandivam Shramsate Hastat Tvakchaiva Paridahyate. Yeah, my Gandiva is slipping. Yeah, my skin is burning all over. The idea of what I'm seeing in front of me is not acceptable. What's happening to him? Anybody, which part of him is really responding right now? Is it the P1? Is it the P2? Is it the P3? Which part of him is really taking over? Which kosha is really taking over the scene for Arjuna? The Pranamaya kosha. Yeah?
P2.
The Pranamaya kosha is completely, the emotions are swarming up. And he is not able to even take care of his physical body as much as he is trained to be a warrior. Forget all our physical fitness that we do. He's trained to be a warrior. And that warrior's physical body is now trembling, sweating, burning, and his emotions, his prana has just completely enveloped his mind. Yeah. So now you see how the P2 has become far more than the P1 and P3, right? Though we believe we are the body, but what has taken over the P1? The emotion, the pranamaya kosha is completely, he has forgotten that he is a warrior. He who has killed and slayed great warriors right now is appearing like a meek mouse. And what happens? So these are, why am I bringing this to your attention is how the P1, the P2 is responding. The P1 where he says my limbs, my mouth, this is all the P1. The P2, the Gandiba, skin burning, my mind is whirling. Which level is he slowly getting to from the P2 layer? To the mind layer. It is taking over his ability to think. It is taking over his ability to discriminate. His viveka is dropping. Right? So he says, look at what he says. 31st verse. Nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava na cha shreyonupashyami hatva swajanamahave. What is he saying? Nibittani cha pashyami. I'm seeing bad omens. Oh, Krishna, this doesn't seem to be good to me. ये सही नहीं लग रहा है. ये जो इस तरह के लक्षण दिख रहे हैं ना, ये कुछ ठीक नहीं है. I'm seeing even evil omens. I'm not going to the word by word meaning because we've already done that. So I'm just bringing you the essence of it. Yeah? And he's saying, now I do not see any sense in fighting and killing people. What is happening? Which layer has he moved to? Under the influence of P2, his P3, his thinking abilities have gotten into a freeze, flight, fright, freeze mode. Why? Because of the ethical dilemma where Krishna, the super consciousness, brings the mind exactly at a point where he now has to decide. And this decision doesn't come easy, but this decision is what will make or break his journey from being a second level student to a third level student, from being a simple, empathetic listener to a transformative listening, from being a warrior to himself becoming the divine possibility. Right? And it's very beautiful. I would urge all of you to go through those verses from 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, up to, I think, Krishna, Sanjay Vacha, so 46. Yeah? So Sanjaya is looking at all of this, right? Almost till the last 46. At your own pace, through the week, go through these verses, because these verses are a reflection of how our mind responds and the excuses जो कारण देते हैं ना हम जीवन में. Oh, I cannot attend the class because of this, because that happened, this one came, that one went, this was urgent, that was urgent. All of these that we are talking about, the excuses that our mind gives for not being able to break the barriers and to reach a Krishna, you will find in these verses. If you want to find your Krishna, you will have to break these barriers. If you want a Krishna to guide you, then you will have to see all these verses happening inside you in the form of the excuses. My child is too young. I'm too busy with work. I'm traveling. All these reasons will come up. And they will appear absolutely genuine. I am not debating that you are wrong. You are, giving excuses. I'm not saying that. Krishna is pointing this to Arjuna, because Arjuna gives the same language that we all use. All right? So he says, I don't want all these things. I don't want this kingdom. I don't want this victory. Are you telling me a warrior like Arjuna doesn't want victory? Or are these excuses that we give? No, it's okay. Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita, Shanaihi, Shanaihi, slowly, slowly. So I can sleep for the whole week and I can just wake up on Sunday for the Bhagavad Gita session without doing anything. I can take it at my own pace. In fact, in the yoga class, Nityama said, oh, self-paced, self-analytical. So myself is paced at, right? See how conveniently we pick up even the words of the wise and use it and fit it to our emotions and conveniently say, this makes sense, what she said. Yeah? I always say, people never agree to me. They are actually agreeing to their emotion, to that part of their emotion which is fitting right with me. So they're essentially only agreeing to their emotions. They're matching it to me and saying, yes, she said, and I'm also feeling, and so it's fine. But the day I say something which doesn't match, she doesn't understand. I think she's living in her own world, It's not possible for us to be like that. Maybe she did that, but that's not true for everybody. So we are all, kya hai? Convenience ke Raja, king of conveniences. Yeah. And therefore, the chapter 1 is so important, because if you have not found all those list of excuses that you put out, na, like आज ये हो गया, वो कल ऐसे हो गया, परसों this was left, I had to cook, I was not feeling well. Oh, but that's genuine. Of course it is genuine. And it is not genuine. Why is it not genuine? We will cover that in the next session, where we will talk about 3 types of obstacles that come through in this journey towards finding the Krishna in you. And we'll see where these obstacles come from and how they really take over. So go through all of this and don't look at it. Oh, you'll say, I don't, so level 1 student will say, I do not covet victory, nor kingdom, nor pleasures. What use will this kingdom or luxuries be even to me? Nityama, but I didn't say that. I told Krishna I'm okay with all the luxuries and all the victories and all that. I, in fact, asked Krishna, let me have the victories and all of that. So I'm not saying that to Krishna. No, we are not talking about a normal situation. We're talking about a situation where you're asked to make a choice between finding your highest potential and being comfortable in your luxuries. You already have luxuries. Now you're being pushed to find your next level potential. The question that Kamalji asked me in the first is, सब कुछ है, अब और किस लिए करना है? Right? So the comfort versus the next level to push to find an unknown side of me that Krishna alone can unveil. Right? So why? I remember there was one more person who shared it in one. It's like, we have everything, but what are we really searching for? Exactly. What are we searching for? Has that question become a pain in your life? So this victory that Arjuna is saying, I don't want the victory, is the victory of his highest potential that he's denying to Krishna. He's not denying the Rajya. He is denying the Swarajya. He is not denying the Tantra. He is denying the Swatantra. He is not denying Dharma. He is defying his Swadharma. Yeah, I know I've used these words. We'll decode these words as we go along. And then he goes on to say, in the next one, he says, what is the use of all these, these luxuries and all of this if my own family is not going to be there with me? I'm earning all of this for my family. If my family is not there, what's the point of all this? So when I start coming to the satsangs, if my friends start saying, Kamal, last couple of sessions, ever since you've started this Bhagavad Gita, you've become a deeper thinker. You've started, really questioning a lot of things. And you're not having those couple of drinks that you used to have and enjoy with us the way you used to do it before. You seem to have become more, deep in terms of the way you are questioning and looking at things. The number of parties you used to attend, now I'm not just holding Kamalji to this, so it represents to all of us, okay? The number of parties, the kind of fun you used to have before, you seem to now be very happy with yourself. What are you doing? Yeah, come on, life, enjoy. Life is here to just have those big cheers, right? Yeah. So we have to look, don't draw like the first level student just saying, oh, Arjuna is saying this doesn't apply to me. I'm very much connected to my in-laws and father-in-law and my sisters and brothers, and I love all of them. Exactly what Arjuna is telling. To mujhe kya chahiye? Why should I do this? Yeah, and then even better are the verses further, because now Arjuna will give very, very logical reasoning to not fight. which if you all read, you will also, by the end of the 46th verse, say, I don't think he's right in fighting. Trust me, read the verses, do a little bit of swadhyay through the week till we meet the next week. And then go back to those videos which have been posted in the group again, if you've not gone through or taken bit by bit. I'll pause here. So I hope you're able to correlate this with the Panchakoshas we've done. Yeah, we all know Panchakoshas, Nithya, we know Panchakoshas. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manamaya, yeah, but we've never realized how we've used it, what's happening in it. Gyan, everybody knows. Practicality, we've never observed. We've never inquired. Right? And then inquire, has it become wisdom? We have few more lifetimes. Like, बहुत सारे जन्म है. We have to take many lifetimes ना. It's not ये जन्म में थोड़ी हो सकता है. ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? So to go many lifetimes more. Remember the fourth type of listening, transformative listening. Remember that now here it is. Now here it can be. Now here begins. You don't have any lifetime. It's here and now or never. Every moment comes only once, never repeats itself. Therefore, to tell you, now and here it is. Now, here it begins. Every breath is taken only once. Never comes again. I have many more lifetimes to live. Or the other way around, YOLO. You live only once. If you live only once, then you want to live the best. And if I tell you that how you live every breath decides how your next breath is going to be, how you live this life is how you will leave this life. How you will live this life is how you will leave this life. How you will leave this life is how you will live your next life. So the choice is yours. All right. I pause here. Any questions, any reflections? Did I threaten you enough? No? None of you feel threatened? All right.
No. Can I
Sorry.
can I ask?
Yes, Kamalji, go ahead.
Sorry about that. But this process is not easy, huh? Moving when you are getting change and then you are facing order of people there in the real life. But it's okay. We will come along with you and we will get better. My two questions are there. First is this shlok number 15 in the chapter 1, you use the word panchajanya. Is it panchajanya or panchajanya?
Panchajanya also is okay.
Both are good.
Yes. Panchajanya is what, if you go through this, so Sanskrit mein, when we are referring it in certain ways, if you're just conveying the meaning, you can use it as Panchajanya also. Panchajanya is generally how we say it. Panchakosh. Now, if Panchakoshas is also Panch. Pancha is Panch.
I'm learning all this shloka, reading shloka, this Gita shlokas. So
yeah,
every time I have lots of
in
questions.
the verses, if you see, it is Panchajanya.
Yeah. Next question is, you earlier talk about the shlokas. And you talk about it that how we think, what's going in the mind is actually impacting our life. And actually, we are getting the same thing. If we are worried about, we are afraid about, the life will be giving you same thing. Then you talk about it that if we are chanting or listening shlokas, the real meaning of that gonna help you out or will change your life. accordingly. Now, just small clarification needed here. Is it chanting or listening?
So at the first level, just say I spoke about listening, no? 4 levels of listening. At the first level, you're chanting. Because you have not yet become a listener. At the second level, at the third level, you are listening. At the fourth level, the mantra is chanting by itself and you are the listener also by itself, which is called as ajapa japa. The japa is continuously happening inside you, even without you chanting it. And even chanting has 4 levels. Para pratyak chiti. So it goes in the Lalita Sahasranama. Para pratyak chiti rupa pashyanti paradevata madhyama vaikhari rupa bhaktamana sahamsika. So how does it go? You're talking aloud. Then you're whispering. Then you're perhaps only saying it in your mind. The fourth, there's that absolute stillness. But in that stillness, there is only that nada. Paranada, it's called. So all of these, that's why I introduced only 4 levels of listening right now. And I spoke about how stories can be heard at 3 levels. It all is about the subtlety that you keep developing in you. And how deeply you seek it. And for why should you seek it? You have to go back. We've discussed that in the previous sessions. What does this knowledge do to you? Right? The jigyasa nivritti, the karpanya dosha nivritti, right? I think we have, let me see if we have that slide. The ajnana nivritti, the samshaya nivritti, the viparyaya nivritti, the aghata nivritti, bhaya shoka nivritti. These are all, if you go through the first chapter, you will see all of this happening in Arjuna. So these are summation of all of those verses in terms of what is the essence of what is happening in each one of us. The doubts, the ignorance, the false understanding, the trauma. He is in trauma right now, facing right in front of his, best men of his life is trauma. Bhaya, shoka. And suddenly what this karpanya dosha, karpanya miserliness, what is happening to him? He's clinging on. All the excuses he is giving is he is clinging on to life and saying, no, I don't need this because, my dear people will go, the women will become widowed, children will become orphaned. Why do we need this? So he's not yet got the last 4, obviously, but you can see that. So when we do the session, please connect. These are all connected links. Don't just take them, this session, it's all building. We are building here. We're building blocks to this journey. So it's not that you leave the previous session and you just, take this next session. That is why the swadhyaya is very important. Going back to what was spoken, writing down after the session, what you understood. It's not about picking up Sanskrit words. I am not here to teach you Sanskrit. That you can learn from a Sanskrit teacher, if at all you need to. But the objective of Sanskrit is for what, finally? To bring clarity, right? To understand deeply. It's like this. I always tell this. When Adi Shankara was walking the streets of Banaras, an old man, I'm not saying you guys are older, by the way, don't get me wrong in that example, but an old man comes to him and says, look, I have very little time. What is the easiest way I can resolve myself? Tell me. Because I have no time now to go back to the scriptures, to study them, to revise them, to perhaps I can't even sit in one position with a teacher right now. And I've spent so many years being completely unaware. What do I do? Show me a way. And to him, Adi Shankara says, forget all these aksharabhyasa, forget all this, learning all these textual books and the scriptures and trying to learn the language, because that's not what's going to come with you right now. Just take the name of the Lord. He takes him to Bhakti Yoga. So this is why I keep saying that a true wise teacher will not say this is the rule book and everybody has the same, apply this to everybody. If you all remember, I said in the first, second class, each one of you has a unique thumbprint, which means you have a unique blueprint of your life. And therefore, only the guru can give you that understanding of what you need in your life. And it's not a mass class that can be done. It's not some content which is laid out already. And you can just publish it and say, just follow this. It doesn't work like that. Mantra yoga is not meant for everybody. Nada yoga is meant for someone. For someone, karma yoga is meant along with a combination of bhakti yoga. For someone, the combination of all the four is needed. For someone, it is right now, the person has already reached a state where he's just waiting for that final immersion of jnana. For someone, it's a journey of cleaning up a lot of mental cobwebs. And such a person has to burn it out through karma yoga and through bhakti yoga. Jnana will not come to him very naturally. He may understand, but he will not be able to apply. The cobwebs have to be cleared up. And these cobwebs is what we call as vasanas, we call as samskaras. And the whole journey of, it's like this. We are already gold. You don't have to become gold. You are all gold. You are all diamonds. But when that diamond is covered with a lot of dust and muck and mud and, colored glasses on top of it, it doesn't know it's a diamond. So the whole journey is only to unveil, to remove the barriers that do not allow you to find yourself. You don't have to get anything new. Praptasya praptihi. It's not अप्राप्तस्य प्राप्ति. अप्राप्त है, जो प्राप्त नहीं है और उसको प्राप्त करना है, वो नहीं है ये जर्नी. जो प्राप्त है ही उसको जानना, ये जर्नी है. That's the beauty of this journey. So and that is why is it, like you said, Kamalji, difficult? Because we have practiced living the other way around, right? If you tell a South Indian who's used to curd rice, every day he will only be given chapati. There's no better way to kill him. Yeah, you go to South India and tell him, no curd rice. Yeah? Only parathas and naans, he'll die. Yeah, you don't have to do anything else to him. Because it's his DNA. So this is our DNA. Self-realization, self-empowerment is our DNA. We just have to unveil what is not allowing us to realize it. And yes, I'm again making it very clear. We are not here for perfection of sounds and perfection of verses and perfection of Sanskrit and perfection of the, sandhis, because then the purpose of this session will be lost. We will maintain it. But here, because we have a mixed group, some of them who understand, some may not understand. It's not even the perfection of the story. See, even if you're caught with the perfection of the story, oh, Ganesha and Kartikeya, but I have read it is like this, it is like that. A little tweaks and here is not what we are worried about. We are worried about the essence. Is the food nourishing and is it serving your purpose? That is what you have to ask when you come for the satsang.
Thank you.
It's good because, I mean, not specifically related to your Panchajanya and Panchajanya, but I'm just saying that.
Thank you.
That's fine. That's not an issue. Because many times When I chant, many of them start expecting that, verse word by word, I should put every meaning. We do that. You will understand the format when you start getting into the regular, um, once we move to chapter 2, from where we will begin. But the intention is not to make you experts in chanting and Sanskrit. Chanting, yes, if you want to, you can learn it. We have our chanting sessions, which have Udgita, where we do learn chanting, where we practice certain new chants. We pick up, like we will be launching, I think, Subramanya Bhujangam, which is a part of the Skanda Upasana that we do. All right. Any other reflections?
हरिओम माँ सर्वमंगला में मैम अभी जो है आपने कहा कि जो ये डीपर मीनिंग था मैंने उस टाइम पे जब पढ़ाई कर रही थी तो उतना तो कनेक्ट नहीं कर पाई थी, बट टुडे आई लर्न दिस इन अ वेरी डीपर मीनिंग। जैसे कि ये कुरुक्षेत्र जो है ये हमारे ह्यूमन बीइंग का ही अंदर का जो ऑलवेज कंफ्यूजन एंड द बैटल इनसाइड अस, राइट। एंड जो आपने अभी कहा कि ये पंचकोशा पंचभूता पांडवास पंचतत्व पांचजन्य, तो ये भी हमारे जो चक्रास जो है उसको भी रिप्रेजेंट करता है, क्योंकि हर एक चक्र जो है जल तत्व को रिप्रेजेंट करता है, फायर एंड ऑल द एलिमेंट्स। सो डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली वेदर इट इज कनेक्टेड टू देयर आल्सो मैम।
Yes. So it is not. I've just very superficially touched four, 5 parts. But I can, if I put it into a table, you will see that there will be at least 15 elements that I will be able to bring together for each of these tattvas. But right now, too early to get into the chakras and all of that. So I don't want to initiate that conversation. When it comes in the Gita, as we go along, we will connect it.
जी ठीक है।
Namaskaram, can I?
Yes, Palguni, go ahead.
Actually, I really love that introduction that was there. In fact, I felt that when I had joined the Sunday one introduction, I missed on to many things, and I felt that there is many things that I still need to go back and still understand certain formats again, because it is like I felt that you need some time to digest certain things, and it is too fast. So it was like I was pausing in between, then understanding it, then again pausing, then going through, and I felt there was a lot to digest when I was going through the video. And Bhagavad Gita for me is something like I have really no words to say. I feel how many ever times I read it, I still feel कि कुछ तो miss हो गया है. There is something more to this. There is something more to this, and I really loved many examples that you give while you give the introduction, and I felt that oh, we didn't knew this. Oh, there is a different point of view to this. Oh, there is something else to it, and that is actually changing my viewpoint to now. The way I see Bhagavad Gita is completely different, and previously when I used to read is very different. And I'm immensely grateful that I joined this, and now like I feel that yeah, what is true essence is actually what I'm understanding with this class. Thank you so much. God bless you.
So no work is a single person's effort, right? If I
Yeah.
am here, there's an effort behind of the Guru Parampara that stands and withholds this energy, in the patra to pass it on to you. And as much as the grace of the Guru Parampara stands, so also there are those little hands that go in making everyday things for Ekam meaningful, and to be able to come here and finally put this forward to all of you. So a lot of people at the back end also in their own way contribute to make this. And I must also say that as much it may look that each one of you are here attending the sessions, always remember that you are in a group consciousness. How you come to this space will define what you will take away from this space. It's like the ocean is completely available to you. And depending on the vessel you carry to the ocean, you will carry back what you need. So either you can carry a small teacup, or you can carry a big bowl, or you can carry a bucket, or you can just simply choose to dive into it. So that depends on your capacity and your intensity that you wish to, harness within you. And the Bhagavad Gita allows you to take this in that journey. It's a function of, just like you do your asanas every day, you do your pranayama, you do your exercise, you do your regimes and routines every day. It is if you all go back to the Panchakoshas we did, right? Now you look at asana, pranayama, of course we are doing it for the P1, for the P2 and all of that. But what are we doing to really every day touch our P4? How do we reach that space? Are we even aware of that space? Right? And the P1, the P2, the P3, P4 are not just simple, diagrammatic representations of typical circles, or just like, it's not like they are area based. They are constantly interacting with each other. What you do in your asana, if you really do it in the way I spoke about asana, will have an effect even at your P4 level. Because to touch your P4, you need sthirata. You need that pause. You need that composure. Yeah. If you work on your pranayama, that naturally, again, so it is all constantly interconnected and inter-breathing with each other. Don't think that, oh, P1, I have to just eat, I have to just do this. No, it also has its impact. The level of impact, of course, that food alone will have on your P4 will not be as much as you combine it with jnana, with wisdom, with practice of jnana yoga. Yeah, I don't want to use the word jnana because many of us think jnana matlab bas samajhna hai. I have to just understand. I think I've clarified that, right? Data, info, knowledge, wisdom. That journey has to be undertaken. If you're sitting on a lot of knowledge, you may be extraordinarily scholarly, you may look very, very wise to your students, but it is not going to be of any use to you, my dear friend. And your entire life's journey that you have come here for is to actually work on yourself. आपने ये जीवन का जो संकल्प लेकर यहाँ पे जीवन, in the sense you've just been born here, that journey is not about enjoyment with the others, but to find yourself. When you truly find yourself is when you will truly express who you are. When you truly express who you are is when you reach your final grand ultimate potential of what you are. And for that, if we all just go and keep on attending classes and just, building notes and just seem knowledgeable to others, it's not going to take us anywhere. We need a certain amount of knowledge, certain amount of skill set, if that is something that your job demands, if that is something that the role that you do demands. But if that knowledge does not become wisdom, is not the butter that Krishna loves, is what? Krishna loves butter, right? How do you get the butter? You have to curdle it. You have to churn it. And that's how the butter comes out. And that's what he loves. Because he doesn't love data and information and knowledge. He loves to eat the butter that you curdle out of your life energies. So when you really work with your life energies and you cull out that in the form of butter, that is what invites Krishna himself into your house to steal that butter. Does anybody have to invite Krishna when you have butter in your house? Did anybody have to invite him? No. Why? Because वो मक्खन जो है वो आपके मंथन से निकला हुआ मक्खन है, या आपके जीवन सूत्रों से निकला हुआ मक्खन है. And if you can offer that, trust me, he never leaves you. He's always with you. In fact, forget he is always with you. You become him. Yeah, there's a beautiful verse on what is a mantra. It says mananat trayate iti mantraha. That which is constantly happening inside me is a mantra. Yeah. So what is happening inside us? Worries, anxieties, fear, FOMO. How can I put that person down? How can I become like this? Jealousy, anger, frustration, irritation. What are we practicing every day? All of this. So what will you get? What will you get good at? All of this, right? So mananat trayate iti mantraha. And there's a very beautiful verse. The meaning of the verse essentially says that the very mantra that you chant, the deities are subservient to that mantra. That is why you chant the mantra. So the mantra makes the deity subservient to you. But the very moment you start chanting the mantra, at a certain point, you become that very devata. Yeah. So now we are not going to chant mantras to become a devata. When you become a devata means that qualities simply start happening in you. Tasmad bhakta devata. Yeah. So the Bhagavad Gita is in a way a mantra that is being sowed in us, so that is the tape that continuously starts happening in us. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.